I check to see if the stream is started. Regular introduction. All right, everybody. This is Kenoshi Abominito. I haven't been here for probably like a couple of weeks. Just holiday stuff, and there's a week where I just wasn't feeling it. Well, it's glad to be back. First episode of 2023. 2022 is far behind us now. Or not. Okay, it's not that far behind us, but it's behind us. We're few days out from 2022.
3 days behind you?
3 days. Yeah, 3 days.
3 days.
And this is episode 58, Old Man 2022. This is just a free open cast where we will just be talking about various things about last year, the games that we enjoyed, whether they came out last year or didn't, or the games that we played. Also, various stories, various things that happened last year that caught our attention. There was a fair amount pertaining to the gaming world and the entertainment world that happened last year, and whatever else comes to mind. But before we dive in, I'd like my panelists to introduce himself.
Yo, it's me, Mr. Red Fox, owner prior to BS Busters. I took last week off, mostly because I was just fucking tired.
Yeah. Well, man, if you're, because I had to work the holidays, I had to work Christmas, I had to work New Year's, and that can be pretty exhausting. I felt the same last week. That's why I took a week off as well.
Yeah, I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm gonna take a break.
Yeah.
Because I can.
Plus, if you live in the Midwest, during Christmas, it got absolutely wrecked by snow and cold and wind.
Yeah, I saw that polar vortex they had. It got cold where I live. It was like they're like, oh, it's 10 degrees with wind chill. It's gonna feel like it's minus 14. I'm like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how the hell are you gonna? I mean, like where you are, I'm like, okay, I can understand that level of cold. Where I am, I'm like, what is this? What is this?
And then I guess California got their ass beat with rain and flooding,
rain and mud, rain
mud,
and mudslides,
mudslides,
and a little bit of snow.
And then you get there's various areas that this week are supposed to get tornadoes and even more snow and even more chaos. Yeah, Mother Nature is not pleased right now. She is severely pissed off, and that's why
considering, Mother Nature is mad, but considering what humanity does to this planet, I'm not really surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, but in any case, overall, what did you how would you describe this year in gaming? What are your thoughts?
How would I describe 2022? Mostly quiet with a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, that it was a quiet year. It's been a quiet for the past couple of years. Nothing really, heavy hitting came out. I mean, Nintendo had a couple of things come out this year. Sony only really had God of War come out. Microsoft didn't do didn't do nothing. They
Nope.
were I mean, aside from the announcing buying Activision Blizzard like game wise, um, they didn't really present anything spectacular or
Which
so
I was just gonna say, to be fair, all they need is Microsoft. All as long as they continue to support Game Pass, they're fine.
yeah yeah
Sony's the one who had something to prove this year, and I'm sorry, God of War was just underwhelming to me. I know some people love that game. I'm not one of those people.
yeah.
I'm like, okay. I mean, if you like hearing Christopher Judge, is his name Chris? Yeah, Christopher Judge. You could just go, voice actor say, boy, boy, come here, boy, Atreus, boy. That's, you know. And to be fair, I mean, I never was a huge fan of the God of War series. I didn't like it when the previous voice actor was the character. Uh, I don't like the current character. I just don't like the God of War character. I don't like Kratos.
Yeah.
Because as someone who has read a lot of Greek mythology, like I've read the Iliad, the Odyssey, the Aeneid, I've done multiple reports on the unadulterated versions of Greek mythology. A lot of sex, a lot of rape. You know.
Yeah, you
Uh,
just don't like the bastardization of
yeah, yeah.
Greek
Here's
mythology.
what I'll say. God of War feels like someone made a fanfic about Greek mythology, and they decided I'm going to create my own homegrown character that's better than every established character in the lore.
It's like a 13-year-old decide to write a Greek tragedy using the god using using the gods.
I don't even go that far because sometimes as a 13-year-old you can come up with some really interesting shit. It's like someone came up with a. It's like you were playing the Marvel based. It's the equivalent if someone was playing the Marvel tabletop game, the tabletop game that's like based on loosely based on the D&D tabletop rules, but it's set in the Marvel universe. And someone made up a superhero who's better than every other established superhero who canonically on paper that character, despite all their stats, it would not go that way. It's not going to be that easy. That's the shit that God of War is. It's like, oh man, oh yeah, Kratos can beat Hercules. Kratos can beat Zeus. I'm like, wait, what? What? Oh, what? Yeah, it's like God of War feels like glorified fan fiction. Like someone who's so into their fan fiction that everything else has to suffer for their fan fiction.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I definitely, I can definitely see that. Um, I, the two games afterwards just kind of seemed, because there was a guy that was, I was talking to uh, about this when I was, because I was trading in a bunch of stuff to get something else at GameStop. This was years ago. He was talking about how the second God of War just seemed forced, and he was right. Like
You mean the
there's
original game or
yeah the original God of War, the original God of War 2 just seemed forced, and I'd have to agree. It was to seem looking back on it, a lot of the stuff after the first game just did feel very forced.
storyline wise? Yes, but the gameplay got more refined with each of the sixth gen iterations.
Yeah, yeah,
When God of War tried to jump to the seventh gen on the PS3, that's when it really kind of went down a bit
there was a
because
lot. Yeah, there was a lot of problems. Like, for example, like the gameplay. Yeah, the gameplay was smooth, and but the problem is, I felt like there's just a lot of stuff that was cut out because You
Yeah,
know,
they didn't evolve the formula.
the second
It
one
was
had a the second one had a more robust magic
yeah.
system, and they just it just they
I
were so
mean,
focused on the
I'm
graphics.
I'm not gonna go that far because let's keep it real. In all the God of War of all the old David Jaffe era God of War games, everyone pretty much like once you got to a certain point in the game where it really started to open up and you got enough skills and combos, you had two or three combos that you memorized that got the job done, and you really didn't unless you absolutely had to. You didn't switch to other shit unless you absolutely had to. Like there was a certain enemy. It's like, oh man, they got an elemental shield, so I gotta use this in order to take it down. Okay, then I can kill him. Um, and that doesn't bother me. Like God of War, like the David Jaffe era God of War was I have to admit was very melodramatic, and a bit pretentious, but everyone there knew that this was just a fucking 2D. It was basically a hack and slash beat 'em up with an
Yeah,
overly serious protagonist.
yeah,
The God of War is now the modern reboot. I mean, they try to take this shit so seriously. It's like a movie. I'm like, well, go fucking watch a movie then.
yeah.
I mean, shit, yeah, calm the fuck down.
I mean, I enjoy what they're trying to do with the Kratos character, but I also get the same feeling when it comes to a lot of Sony's games. I feel like because I've played you know a chunk of at least the original God of War, and compared to say like The Last of Us or like some of their other just big AAA
It's a game.
game. Yeah, it feels more
Yeah.
like a game than anything else that they have.
Because this is what the thing is, like what people need to understand is that Sony today they've trained their audience because this is what sells on their system are their narratively driven adventure games. Basically, the games Sony makes now are the successors to those fucking FMV games back in the day. Better graphics, the gameplay is more integrated with the story is more integrated with the gameplay, but that's basically what it is. Now, if you like that, knock yourself out. I personally like games with like it depends. Okay, some games have to have like if I'm playing an RPG has to have a story. You can't just keep on recycling the same thing over and over again. Otherwise, your RPG becomes like not Persona, Grandia Extreme, which was basically just a dungeon crawler. You kept on going through the same dungeons over and over again, running the same dungeons over and over again with the enemies getting more powerful with each new run, leveling up your skills and abilities, finding better stuff, and that was the game. And that just, I mean, like, unless your battle system is really good, it's really hard for you to have a game built that way. So for an RPG, you need some type of story combined with a good gameplay loop and all that other stuff. Um, but if I'm playing like a 2D platformer or a 3D platformer, I just need good gameplay. I don't need a deep, engrossing story with that type of stuff. Just make a good game. Shoot.
And I don't understand why, because I had a discussion with somebody in another server, and I was talking about The Last of Us 2. And I was talking about, I brought this up about how, they wanted us to care about the murder of you going and killing, your enemies, but they didn't give you an option pertaining to, how you should go about that so you would actually care more about what you were doing, because you pretty much had to mow them down. Like there wasn't you pretty much everybody on that path pretty much has to be taken out.
Yeah, even their dog. Even the
Even
dog. You gotta kill that dog, man.
and it's like you don't, and nobody said anything about and this one guy was like, well, that you know um, it shouldn't have to be. I forgot exactly what he said, but it's not something aside the fact that the mechanics or adding game mechanics to that aspect of the story would take away from the story. No, it would actually add more to the story and give you more of a reason to care, because some reason in people's heads there's like this separation between game mechanics and story, and the fact that the game mechanics can't be part of the story. Like,
Um, I think it depends on the game. Like some games, the game mechanics absolutely have to be part of the story. Other games, it's not. I mean, we've all played games where they have unwinnable fights, where you're supposed to lose, even if you have the stats for it. And then later on, you fight that same enemy. It's like you kick their ass, and it's like, well, maybe no, it was a fight you were supposed to lose.
yeah, yeah,
So, I mean, I get where you're coming from. I think it depends on the game, but I agree with you that The Last of Us is bullshit.
yeah, yeah. It's just
Total incomplete bullshit. Because I mean, even the first game was bullshit. Because it's like, oh well, you're supposed to care that Joel does X, Y, or Z. Do you know the fucked up shit like Joel has to pay for the consequences of his actions? Because let's not forget, he did murder a lady. He did bust into a doctor's office and murder everyone in there. And I mean, I do think that the premise of that game of Last of Us 2, where yeah, remember those people Joel murdered? Oh well, there's consequences.
yeah,
I like that concept. Now, is it handled well? No. Like all of these games, all of those games have been very like, kind of like not very well. Uh, like them telling their story is more important than them having good gameplay. That was with the first game, where like Joel had to, if Joel farted, the clickers would find him. But if you like Ellie's sitting there knocking over bottles, she's talking, and they just ignored her. Why? Because gameplay, because for story based purposes, she had to be untouchable for that segment.
yeah,
So, I mean, Last of Us has never had strong gameplay.
yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
not really surprised that, the people they've been hiring to work for that studio after all those people got, after they ran those people into the ground has always been, everything has been about, they're getting like animators and shit. They don't care about, other stuff.
yeah, yeah. They're not thinking so much about I guess the programmers would be more thinking about like hit detection and hit boxes. Oh, and animations. Oh, yeah. I mean, animators aren't thinking about animation pertaining to how quick an animation should be when you're doing this or doing that. They're more thinking more so on the artistic side because they're probably more. They're probably used to doing stuff for movies and TV shows.
Yeah. And they're being told to, they're being told to make a game that's cinematic. They are not being told to make a good game.
Yeah, yeah. And I've said this before. I don't mind that stuff like that exists. It's just it's just people act like there are people that act like it's the most important thing in video games. It's like it has its place. I'm not saying I want it to go away, but people just relax. There's other stuff that can be done. There's other stuff that's being done. Uh, so that should be just that should be getting just as much attention. But what were your thoughts on the console space this year? Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, in general. Like what? How would you? How did
How
you
would I
think they
put it?
performed? Yeah,
Um, I think that everyone kind of just was like, everyone kind of treaded water to me.
yeah.
Um,
Like 2020, it just feels like everybody still
2022
stuff.
just felt,
Yeah,
meh.
yeah.
To quote Hip Hop Gamer, meh. Got mad that Reggie said meh. Like, dude, calm the fuck down.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, it feels like, they're. It feels like people are still dealing with the hangover of 2020. It could either be that, or it could be other factors. But a lot of things got pushed back. A lot of things were rushed out. Um, we had Nintendo with Pokemon. That game was rushed out, and that game should have come out this year, like holiday this year, rather than getting pushed out with Arceus, because you had what was it, the Diamond and Pearl remake last year, and then you had
Let's go
Arceus.
Pikachu. Let's go Eevee
Yeah, you had
and
Arceus,
Arceus.
Arceus that came out, and then you had the mainline Pokemon game. They should have just so they should just chilled out. I really think Arceus probably should have come out holiday this year, and then save Pokemon, the mainline Pokemon game for uh, this year, because Arceus would have been something different that would have sold a fair amount. So, and
I
then
agree.
Microsoft, they didn't really do anything. I mean, they're supporting Game Pass, and you got the Blizzard Activision stuff. That, but that's been a bit of a mess. It's not exactly going over smoothly, and then um, you have Sony, which they bought Bungie. Acting like I just found it kind of funny that they announced that right after Microsoft and had their big announcement. But again, I
That they
mean,
bought ZeniMax.
Sony also bought ZeniMax.
No, no, they had their announcement that they bought Bungie after Microsoft said they bought ZeniMax,
Yeah, yeah,
which essentially says that like Microsoft's like, yeah, we just got like all these studios that have all this stuff that people like, and they're like, uh, we got ZeniMax. It's like don't nobody care about yeah, like, don't nobody care about don't know. I mean, like, let me put it this way: if this was the Bungie that made like Halo, but this ain't Halo Bungie. Like they haven't like hey like Bungie is not what they used to be.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. Yeah, they're not what they used to be. I mean, Destiny 2 is still going pretty strong, but it's and obviously the reason they bought them is because so that they can someday have an online system, like an online game that they could milk for years.
Mm, I think that's a part of it. I think the reason they announced it was because they wanted to steal Microsoft's thunder from buying ZeniMax. Because I'll tell you right now, if you ask me which is a more valuable studio right now, between what they bought and what Bungie's worth, and versus Bethesda with like ZeniMax Studios and id Studios and Bethesda themselves, like Halo, look, Destiny is not more valuable than the Elder Scrolls series.
Yeah,
It's not.
yeah. Sony announced VR2, which I don't. Their last VR headset, I think it sold over 1 million. Um, uh, I guess VR is not something I hear people really talk about that much.
You
Uh,
do not. You are
it's
correct.
not. Yeah, it's not something I see people push significantly. I mean, I think the thing that people are going to push is AR. I, yeah, I don't. I just don't see. I don't know. I don't see this. I don't see this being super big, especially since it's not backwards compatible. You're gonna
Yeah,
have to
that's
buy
the
your
big
games
thing.
again. So
That's the big thing. It's not backwards compatible.
yeah. So it comes out. I think it comes out next month. It comes out in February. So yeah. I used PlayStation VR. It was about 3 years ago, and about 4 years ago. It was cool for like an hour, and then I was like, I can't. Nah,
My
I,
eyes are hurting.
yeah, it's like I can't do this thing. I couldn't use this for like 6 hours, or I couldn't use this for like a long gaming session or something like that. I mean, I've heard people that have gotten their headsets and they're able to get used to it, but I mean,
I mean, for me, the problem with PlayStation VR is just that it. I mean, the fact that it hurts my eyes after a while, but there's also the fact that it's literally the PSVR set is just as expensive as it's just as expensive as if you're getting as the console itself. So it's like in order for you to have the full VR experience, you're spending like you know like $1,000, and that doesn't include a game, by the way. That's just. I mean, I feel like you're getting taken advantage of, but that's just me.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's like what is it? It's $500. The console's 550 something like.
I mean, but you can get a bundle for the PS5 if you get one on sale. If you can find a bundle for like 500, the thing itself, if you factor in taxes, is another 550, $50
Yeah,
with tax depending on where you live. I mean, that is some bullshit. I mean, I hate to, that is some bullshit right there, boy.
yeah,
And if
yeah,
you say something, people are like, "Oh man, it's just." I'm like, who? Like, I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm being taken advantage of. Don't you? I mean,
yeah,
or is that
yeah.
just me? Am I the?
No, I feel like that's way too expensive for a console add-on.
And
Uh,
and here's the thing: it's not like games are running well on the PlayStation 5 either. Like,
yeah.
if you're charging people $500, can we get 1080p 60 frames per second solid? Like, why can't we get 60 frames solid?
Yeah, it's.
I didn't say 2K. I didn't say 4K, 8K. I just want 60 frames solid. It's just
Yeah,
HD 60 frames solid.
it's too much to ask for. Everybody wants the nice lighting and nice particle effects. You want the visuals. I mean, and the thing is, I I kind of I kind of have mixed feelings about this. But on the new consoles, you are able to choose between higher resolution, better visuals, or lower resolution, smoother frame rates.
Yeah, but that's just the shit you could do on your PC.
See, yeah, exactly,
None of
exactly.
this is. I mean, why do we have to choose? Oh, you can either have really good function
Yeah, I mean,
or
a
other. I'm like, this is stupid.
a lot of it just has to do with they don't want to charge $800 for a console, or That and optimization is also another thing. Uh, there's probably a million other factors that I'm not unaware of why they create these excuses. But so some of the stories that were pretty interesting this year. Embracer Group and bought all of the Square Enix, uh, bought all of Square Enix Western Studios. So that was so now they own stuff like Tomb Raider, like Hitman, like what other Western stuff do they have? Um, Obviously the Marvel games. Um, yeah, so that they essentially the Legacy of Kane series, which they announced that they were gonna work on a remake for that. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, the fans of that franchise really want to see that franchise come back.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I hope something works out. I hope some people can get some stuff because I'm telling you right now, I never liked Legacy of Kain because I don't like the character. I think he's annoying. Um,
yeah,
but like I know there's fans of that friend. It's ultra niche.
yeah.
But if they can bring that back and some people can be happy, I'm happy that they'll be happy.
I like the Soul Reaver stuff. Soul Weaver,
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool when it was Azrael,
Azrael. Yeah,
but when it became about Kane, I'm like Kane. I mean, initially Kane was the main character, but and it was like a Legend of Zelda clone, but dark and gritty, which I'm not bothered by. But the thing is, Kane is a piece of shit,
yeah.
and they're trying to make him into a hero, and I'm like, but he's a piece of shit. Like, why are we always trying to make all these characters into heroes? Like that's my. I mean, that's the problem with a lot of stuff. Like I like heroes who were good. Like I don't like villains.
uh, you're not in favor of character arcs, like
No, because okay, character arcs are good. Character arcs are good if a character, if their redemption is earned. I'll give
Yeah,
an example, right? Like, let's watch it. Go watch. What's it called? Okay, Piccolo. Piccolo's where Piccolo becomes redeems himself, right?
yeah,
He redeems himself by essentially um, raising Goku's son.
yeah,
Like he turns Gohan from being a little whiny little bitch into being a good, like giving him the skills he needs in order to survive and become a better person.
yeah. I speaking of that, real quick aside, because I saw this clip yesterday. I'm
Uh
surprised. I'm surprised it took him this long to give Gohan the ability to use the special beam cannon. Like, I was surprised because I guess he used it near the end of the movie, or at the end of the movie. Dragon Ball Super Superhero. I'm like, it took you guys this long to do this, okay, but whatever. But yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. Uh, but yeah, so Embracer Group, they pretty much own Square Enix West now, uh, and I know that I've heard rumblings that Square West and East and West were not getting along uh, very well. There was there was a bit of a struggle between those two sides, two divisions. It's gonna be interesting to see if Square East, Square Japan, by letting go of these Western studios, if they're, we might see improvement over the years, or if it's just gonna be the same old, pertaining to their Japanese studios. I mean, I guess you can make the argument that it kind of is with Final Fantasy 16 because it's more placating to a Western uh, style pertaining to its gameplay, more third person action, abandoning the turn based uh, style of gameplay that has been, that birthed that series. So,
I mean, I can understand where people are coming from, but the problem is that they're Japanese. Their Japanese style games aren't good either,
yeah.
by and large. Um, so like Dragon Quest 11, eh, I personally didn't think it was that good. I know some people like it, but I was like, I'm underwhelmed by this game.
I didn't think it was anything truly to write home about. I mean, I thought it was okay. I just kind of got bored with it.
The problem with the game is that it was overly simplistic. Like I liked the concept of you having to essentially of in Dragon Quest. Like I hate how it was such a step backwards. It was such a step backwards for like what you were able to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, this is such an overly simplified game. I hate that. You know? Um and the story was a little bit melodramatic, but not in a good way. You know, I just felt underwhelmed.
Yeah.
But but whatever.
Another story. That really wasn't a surprise. Was GeForce shutdown. Um, the thing about G4 is that it was a product of its time, and there were other channels, other apparatuses uh, that were doing the same thing now, uh, except a bit better than what G4 was doing. So, you know, um, I don't know. What's your thoughts on the G4 shutdown?
I think G4 could have came back. I just think that the problem is they were trying to run it like a TV studio instead of just it should have just been a Twitch channel with a decent production value but nothing too insane. And that's where
Yeah,
they kind of messed up in my opinion.
yeah, yeah. I should have. Yeah,
Cuz like here's the thing, you just said it. There's tons of people talking about video games. Why not have people who've been talking about video games for years talk more about video games with their connections and all that type of shit? It would have been interesting, but they were trying to run it like an actual channel without the money of an actual channel, so it just kind of fell apart.
yeah, yeah. They should have just focused more on the sort of one on one. I mean, obviously, yeah, one on one sort of environment, like your Twitch channels and whatnot. Because it's usually like you have a people or you have a person. Like typically it's like just the most maybe like two or three people, or you got a person in front of a camera, playing games, talking about the games, and or just having BS conversations with their audience. And then you have with G4, with the connections that they had, they could have made things even more interesting if they would have just focused on that. But yeah, like I said, I'm not entirely surprised by the shutdown, but um, that's what hopefully everybody finds something else. Everybody that was let go, they're able to find something else. They're able to be profitable in that, whatever endeavor they end up finding. But a bit so. One of the bigger announcements that happened this year was Rockstar's uh, 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 Rockstar announcing GTA 6, and then a lot of the GTA 6 uh, pre alpha footage getting released online. Somebody hacking into, which is more than likely probably an inside job. People getting uh, getting footage and getting information about the game and how it works. It's like the game's obviously nowhere near done. It's probably a couple years out, but
GTA 6?
yeah, GTA 6. But after the
Well,
performance,
we found out
okay.
it was not an inside job. Some random kid hacked it, and he actually went to jail. So,
Oh, so they actually got the. Oh, okay. Um, but with the performance of the GTA trilogy that came out, and with the uh, lack of interest in expanding upon the first the single player aspect of GTA 5 and shoving all the online nonsense down everybody's throat, are you worried about GTA 6? As a fan of, because I know you're a much bigger fan of the Grand Theft Auto franchise.
huge fan. Huge.
Yeah. Yeah, so are you
Um,
worried about GTA 6?
am I worried about GTA 6? You're damn right I'm worried about GTA 6. Um, why am I worried about GTA 6? Because we already know for a fact that Rockstar doesn't care about making good games. They just want to sell you on bullshit that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, they want to sell you on stupid crap they want to focus on their online and all that shit. So they don't care about the other stuff right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, seeing this how the atrocious state that the GTA trilogy definitive edition was, I can say with 100% certitude that I would not be surprised at whatsoever, like not even a little bit, if if don't go into it expecting GTA 6 to be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just don't do it
Yeah.
because they have no incentive to.
Yeah. Yeah. They'll probably slap together. A single player, and then put more focus on their online and sell the shit out of all their sell people on more shark cards. So some of the BS they tried to pull with GTA 5, like when it first came out, they were publications reviewed the single player, and they reviewed the multiplayer second and gave that a different score, and
Yep.
didn't figure that
So it
in.
wouldn't lower the scores.
So it wouldn't lower the score.
Yeah.
So it's just like, what? Yeah. I mean, people that think that there's no favoritism that goes on within this
Yeah,
industry, they're out of
because
their mind.
Rockstar is, a huge. They are a huge developer.
Yeah. 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 I mean, Yeah, but
And like I said, I love. I like the GTA franchise, but you know, I'm an old school. Um, I'm an old school GTA fan. Like I like the sixth gen GTA games and the previous items. I don't like GTA as it is right now because it's kind of trash.
yeah, yeah.
Just me, you know. Who am I? I'm just some guy, you know.
So another surprising story that came out this year was the Yuji Naka. First, there was the Yuji Naka. There's a couple stories pertaining to Yuji Naka. There was the Yuji Naka just unleashing his wrath on Square Enix, uh, and basically calling them out on their BS pertaining to Bound Wonder World. Um, yeah, that like everything he was talking about, how he was practically removed from the project, and how they wanted to rush it out, and how I said the game needed more time, but they wouldn't listen. And it's just the whole thing was a mess. And then the second story pertaining to Yuji Naka was him involved in insider trading, which at first didn't seem too terrible, but as it progressed, it just got worse. It just sounded like things just got worse. And yeah, so which one do you want to tackle first?
Well, I mean, I live in a world where, there are no moral absolutes and two things can be true at the same time. Is it true that Square Enix screwed over Yuji Naka with that game and dragged his name through the mud in the process? That is true. Balin Wonderworld. Is it also true that Yuji Naka said, "To hell with that. I'm gonna make some money off of this," and use his connections at Square Enix to try and make some money?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As
Yeah,
a matter of fact, he's been charged. He's been arrested and indicted on like three different counts of insider trading.
yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, look, man. Here's what I'm gonna say about that. Okay, here's what I'm gonna say. Okay, uh, if you would have asked me 20 years ago if the guy who helped create Sonic the Hedgehog used to be one of the most rock star, like Yuji Naka to some people's up there with Shigeru Miyamoto. That's like, hey, Shigeru Miyamoto is going to jail for insider trading in Japan. You couldn't write this shit. You couldn't imagine it.
Yeah,
You're
that'd
like,
be great.
wait, what?
Oh,
What? But here we are, folks. Here we are.
Yuji Naka's probably like, damn, all my retirement money. That was my retirement money.
That's Tom Brady. He put all his money in FTX, all his retirement money in FTX, which is why Tom Brady will be an 84-year-old man playing football. My arm
No,
fell off. No.
he'll be pushing his son into playing football in the NFL and just be taking being working as a manager so he can take a little off the top.
I don't know about that, but what I do know is it's just kind of sad. It's just really, really, really sad. But as I said, what was I about to say? Oh yeah. So, like I said, both of these things are true. Um, you know, was Yuji Naka, was it wrong for Square Enix to screw over Yuji Naka um, with Balin Wonderworld? Yes, that was
Yeah,
wrong. They essentially, because here's the thing, in like any business or profession, like, here's what people need to understand: businesses, whether they be you know government, private industry, nonprofit, for profit, doesn't matter. All you have is your reputation. If you have a reputation of being lazy, idea stealer, credit stealer, not doing the hard work, not putting in the work, it will follow you. You can lose a lifetime of goodwill and reputation with one bad rumor. Could be false rumor, okay? Could be untrue, and yet your reputation is gone.
Yeah.
Um, and so, as a game developer, all you have is your reputation. Because a lot of times they don't even have access to the IP they created. Yuji Naka doesn't own Sonic the Hedgehog or any of the
Yeah.
other shit he worked on. All he
Yeah.
has is his name, and it was dragged into the mud. Now, does that also mean it's okay for him to have allegedly done insider trading? Now, I'll be honest with you. I'm one of those people who, like, if you are a middle class or poor person and someone says, hey, it gives you a tip and says, hey, man, you got any money saved up? Yeah, I got like 3,000. Buy some shares of this stock and you'll make a good return. Like if you're doing like if it's under 5,000, I know that by technical legal definitions that's insider trading, but I'm like if you're not putting like tens of thousands, hundreds of to millions of dollars into it, I'm like you just got a lucky tip, you got a break. But this dude, like, I think this one of the smaller ones was like 10,000 yen or like 100,000 yen, which is like $30,000. And I think on the higher end, it's almost like $250,000 worth of shares. I'm like, fucking hell, dude, you were trying to get something out of like the way he was doing it and the way he just kept on going after the same company tells me that it was personal.
Yeah.
It was fucking personal because he felt
Yeah.
like they fucked him. Square Enix fucked him. That's what
Yeah.
that's what I think. I think
Yeah.
he was like, look, they besmirched my name, they fucked me, they probably didn't pay him the money he deserved. He was like, I'm gonna fuck them just like they fucked me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately, he did it kind of stupidly because it was obvious that he did it. I'm like,
Well,
dude,
well, that's the thing about revenge. Like, you're gonna, you let your hatred get the better of you. You're gonna be sloppy.
yeah, he
Gonna be
he he
sloppy.
kind of yeah he kind of fucked up a little bit. Like I said, I feel sorry for him because I I feel sorry for a lot of people. I'm a general type of guy. I try not to sit there and like be all like, oh my god, so and so did this, um, you know. But here's the thing. Even my rules where I'm like, if you spend like $5,000 or $10,000, I'll let it go. But this dude was just like egregious. He was egregious.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bruh, like, I can't even let it go. I'm like, man, you just really just gonna,
He's just gonna do it.
you just
He's
gonna
just,
keep on. I know they I know they messed with you, but dude, Jesus, are you just,
yeah.
you just gonna do it? You just gonna,
Yeah. Yeah.
so, like I said, but on the other, and Japan has some laws where I'm like, that's bullshit, right? There's some Japanese laws where I'm like, this is total and complete bullshit. Like how like you can't like if you open a game cafe, right? And instead of having arcade machines, you have consoles, right? Video game consoles hooked up to TVs or CRTs, whatever. And people are playing those games, and you charge people to come and play games and drink beer and all that shit. That's illegal in Japan.
Yeah. That's weird.
That's bullshit, right? It's
Yeah.
like, well, I bought these consoles, I bought these games. If I want to open up, because basically, like, it's like it's weird shit like that, you know, where I'm like, I just don't, Like Japan, there's some laws where I'm like, Japan's like, this is some bullshit, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that is really weird.
So as far as Yuji Naka goes, I feel sorry for him, but on the other end of the spectrum, I mean, he did he did he did he did do a lot of insider trading, and it was expensive. It wasn't like inexpensive.
Yeah.
So I can't be like, oh well, it wasn't that bad. It's like, yeah, it kind of that bad.
In case another not really so much surprising news because they wanted to compete with Game Pass. The PS Plus tier system. They're a new tier model with Essentials, which is basic PlayStation stuff, Extras, which is basic plus some classic stuff. I think like PS3 stuff. Um, I think you also get some more modern games like PS4 stuff, and then there is Premium, which which what I'm hearing is actually kind of disappointing. Uh, People haven't been getting the games that they thought they were getting because this included a lot of the classic PlayStation games and PS2 stuff, and so basically PlayStation Plus is rolled its PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now services into one service, and uh, and also it created a big mess because what people did to kind of circumvent paying extra was that they bought uh, more subscriptions of PlayStation Now, because if you already had PlayStation Now or you were already paying for it, you would have been grandfathered into like either Essentials or Premium, depending on what tier PlayStation Now you're using. But Sony threw a hissy fit, and, because it was going to be more expensive, and Sony, blocked people from buying like 2, 3, 4, 5 years of their PlayStation service. Uh, I think they might have retracted that. I'm not sure, but I knew it was. I know it was a big deal uh, for a while. Well, what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, it's Sony. Sony is greedy, underhanded. Um, you know, but I will say this much: Sony is greedy and underhanded, but they're out there and open with how greedy and underhanded they are. Not like Nintendo, which like just yeah, we're your friends. Yeah, yeah, I love you guys. Oh, by the way, look that way while I reach into your wallet and take everything.
Yeah, a lot of Sony products. Um, Notice that you're paying more for us if you buy it from somebody else. Um, Paying more for less. At least that's kind of how it used to be with their TVs and stuff like that. You have somebody that's has similar technology, and then you have Sony, which will charge exorbitant prices just because
They can.
But yeah, they're the Sony brand. It's a pretty recognizable brand. But um, yeah, I don't know. Hopefully within a few years, or hopefully within at least the next year. And the thing about their PlayStation or their older stuff, they just seem to
Not give
drag
a
their
shit about.
yeah, they seem to drag their feet when it comes to paying for licenses for games that people really want to play. And
Yeah,
that's
I
what
mean,
happened with the
I
mini
remember what they
console.
did with the PlayStation Classic, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That sorry ass bullshit, which is, I mean, let's call it for what it is. It was some sorry ass bullshit. The PlayStation Mini was the PlayStation Classic, where
Yeah, it's
they
pretty
couldn't
bad.
even be bothered to get a decent emulator on the damn thing.
Yeah.
Like y'all just didn't give a shit at all, did you? You just like, let's just grab some stuff and throw it on there. People will buy it because we're Sony and it's PlayStation. I'm like,
Yeah.
whereas even now, if Nintendo said we're coming out with an N64 Mini, it's gonna have 64 games, and like people, that shit would, you couldn't even keep it stocked. They'd have to do special shit to make sure people didn't buy it and what's the word I'm looking for? They couldn't buy it and scalp it.
Bulk. Yeah, scalp it.
I mean, but that shows you how Sony just does not care.
Nope.
They don't care. They don't care about you as a gamer. They don't care about you as a consumer. They do not care.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
And just how lazy Sony is.
yeah. They just got super comfortable during the PS4 era, and it's like, yeah, we can just crap out any
I
old
put
thing,
effort in anything. What's wrong with you?
and people eat it out. But
They're kind of like Nintendo now during the PS2 era. Like they're just very like, we don't need to put effort into our stuff. People will buy this shit regardless of whatever we do.
yeah, yeah.
I know people gonna get mad when they hear that, but it's the truth. It's the truth, damn it.
So
Don't get mad because it's the truth.
yeah, yeah.
People always like, oh, don't say that. No, it's like it's true.
So I think the biggest story of this year, and maybe the one we'll end on, unless you have stories of your own, is the release of the Steam Deck. Um, the Steam Deck font, it was basically the Steam Deck kind of sort of came out last year. It was a soft launch. A lot of reviewers and tech influencers got the console early, and it but it released this year in
In mass marketing.
mass marketing.
Yeah.
They started rolling this out, I think in February, and then you know it just and then around the fall, and as time went on, they increased production, and around the fall they started releasing more systems, and then basically I think it was late fall that they said, yeah, the Steam Deck's released. Now you can order one and get one within at least a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So
And the only thing I can say is, this is amazing.
yeah, Steam Deck,
I got the top tier one. Steam
yeah,
Deck is freaking amazing, man.
yeah,
It's freaking amazing, man.
yeah,
It really makes you wish Nintendo had splurged for a little bit more money on their hardware for the Switch.
yeah, exactly, yeah, yeah. I would agree.
It's like, hey, because I would have paid, like, if Nintendo said this is gonna be $400 or even $500, I would have bought it if it meant I could have had games that were like 1080p, 60 frames per second solid.
Yeah,
But the big end's like, hell no, man. We don't believe in that shit. you got to have the same sorry ass shit we've been doing for years now.
Yeah.
I know some people are gonna get mad. Oh, don't say that.
Yeah. Yeah. I've definitely enjoyed my time with the Steam Deck. It's great for emulation. Um, also great for playing older games and indie stuff and some newer stuff. Um, yeah, it's pretty good device. I know there have been stuff that has come out in the recent months that is much more capable hardware wise than the Steam Deck, but again, I mean, a lot of those a lot of those systems are cumbersome because they run Windows, so you have to fumble through Windows to try to you know get it to do what you want it to do, and B they're super expensive still. You're paying upwards to
Hey,
$1,000 to get something decent, and
I'm
see they
about to
come
say
out too
something.
frequent. What?
No, no, sorry. I was just about to say that they are also expensive, and on my Steam Deck, I did put Windows on it because um, there's just certain stuff that I want to do on my Steam Deck that you kind of need Windows for. There isn't a Linux version for it,
Yeah,
but it's like I basically, you know, but on my Windows distro on it is very like I basically had to go in there and strip that shit down.
yeah, yeah. Um, and then what else? Um, yeah, they're super expensive. They and they come out too frequently. So, you had I Need a Light come out a few months ago, and then all of a sudden the I Need 2, that started popping up in reviewers' hands already, and yeah, it's just think about the Steam Deck, and it seems like they're not necessarily. It doesn't seem like Steam's necessarily rushing to uh, create a new one because they don't want to oversaturate, you know, the market. And the thing about the Steam Deck is there's aside from the storage space, like all of them are pretty much the same, hardware wise, and so finding information, or fix like for example fixing a problem or optimization, you'll probably find a lot more of that on the Steam Deck, a lot faster than you will on these multiple other computer consoles. So, but it's interesting that this stuff has taken off past couple of years with, um, and I think the Steam Deck is going to be one of those things which will probably inspire these companies to create a more unified system uh, when it comes to their hardware. But we will see. But anything
Probably
else you?
not.
Yeah, probably not. Anything else you'd like to bring up before we call it a night?
The Steam Deck is lovely, and like it just really makes you wish that Nintendo had put more money into their hardware, you know, and not using some shit that's like 8 years old. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And are there any stories that popped up that you'd like to talk about? Uh,
uh, no, I mean I'm saving my big stuff for my cast tomorrow.
okay. All right. This sounds good. Well, this is Kenoshi Mamonito here to wave goodbye to 2022. Would you like to say give your sign off and pimp out what you're doing?
Yeah, this is Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor of BS Busters. We have a ton of really awesome rumors coming out that we're going to discuss on our on my podcast tomorrow. I mean, some really good stuff, like some juicy stuff pertaining with Nintendo and the Switch and their last game of the year, and some really good stuff to talk about. So that's going
Uh,
to be fun. Aside from that, uh, that's about it. So I'm looking forward to that right there. What else? What else we got going on? That's it. Um, that's it, and that's going to be tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. to 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
oh, that's cool. Um, and like I said, it's Kenoshi Abominito. Billion adios 2022. And hope to keep doing the show during 2023. And to all those who either watched it live or most of you will probably watch it when it's uploaded. Have a good week, have a good weekend, and have a good life. And we'll